Hello everyone, welcome to Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. My name is Madhav. I welcome you all in a very important session which we call it as Finance Current Affairs. As you all know, if you are preparing for RBI Grade B examination or maybe any other regulatory body exams, that could be SEBI, SIDBI, PFRD, IFSCA, this session is a must-watch session for everyone. So I welcome you all guys in the Finance Current Affairs for RBI Grade B. This is very important for RBI Grade B Current Affairs examination. So before we start, may I have a reply in the comment section that I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Just give me yes sir in the comment section quickly so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. And I would request you quickly share the link of this session with your friends if you haven't shared it yet. I will be along with you sharing this link so that more and more students, they can join us live and they can watch this session from the beginning itself. So let's quickly share the link, and I would request you please reply in the comment section that whether I'm audible, visible, everything is fine. Okay, thank you so much for the reply guys. Now if I'm audible, let's begin the discussion. What all things we are going to discuss today? Today we have two very important news which are going to be discussed. First of all, I will be discussing RBI has announced some of the measures which RBI will be taking in the upcoming month in order to avail the liquidity in the market. We know that liquidity in the market is pretty low. Liquidity in the market is pretty low, due to which there is fall in inflation rates. So in order to manage the requirement of liquidity in the market, that means cash circulation in the market, this initiative has been taken. We will be discussing it in much detail. Moving ahead, we will be talking about a very important news, that is, I hope you might have heard about this particular news. This is payment system report. So payment system report, it's a half yearly report which is published by RBI. So we will be discussing this important publication of RBI, which is again really very important for your examination. So if for sure few questions, at least I would say 2 to 3 questions are going to be asked from this report itself in the phase 1, and you can expect 2 to 3 questions in phase 2 as well from this report. I'm not saying directly, but yes, indirectly, this news or this report is going to be important. So let's begin. Here we go with the first news of the evening. The first news says RBI announces measures to manage. RBI announces measures to manage liquidity conditions. Now, in order to manage the liquidity conditions, in order to increase the flow of cash in the economy, RBI has announced certain steps which we are going to discuss today. So the first step which has been announced by RBI. So in order to increase the liquidity in the market, RBI has announced OMO. OMO stands for open market operation. Open market operation basically means open market operation is a process followed by RBI in order to purchase or sell. In order to purchase or sell government securities from the market. In order to purchase or sell government securities from the market, and with the help of this sale and purchase of government securities, RBI tries to control the money supply in the market. So what I'm trying to say, let's suppose money supply in the market is pretty high, and due to which there is huge demand in the market, because of which inflation rates are increasing. So in order to control that scenario, RBI will issue the government securities, and obviously public will invest their funds into these government securities, and those funds will be decirculated. Those funds will be evacuated from the market by RBI. So the process of evacuating money supply from the market, or even injecting the money supply into the market with the help of government securities, is basically termed as what? So it is basically termed as what? So it is basically termed as open market operation. Now, in the recent announcement, RBI has come up with a statement. What is the statement? The statement is open market operation, auction of government securities issued by Government of India with a value of 60,000 crore rupees will be issued in 3 tranches of 20,000 crores each. What is the news all about? So as per the latest announcement, 60,000 crore worth, 60,000, 60,000, 60,000 crore worth government securities will be issued in the market. Government securities will be purchased from the market. And the moment this government security value is purchased from the market, it will result in increase in money supply in the market. But this purchasing will not be done in one go. It will be done in three different, you can say, installments. You can use the word tranches of 20,000 crore rupees each. तो एक 30 दिसंबर को 20,000 करोड़, फिर फरवरी 13 20,000 करोड़ और फरवरी 20 को 20,000 करोड़ वैल्यू की जो गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज है, आरबीआई विल बी परचेजिंग इट फ्रॉम द मार्केट, जिससे क्या होगा, मार्केट में मनी सप्लाई कम होगी. सॉरी, आरबीआई विल बी परचेजिंग दोस गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज फ्रॉम द मार्केट, जिससे क्या होगा, मनी सप्लाई इन द मार्केट विल इंक्रीज. आई होप ये पॉइंट समझ आ गया. मनी सप्लाई कैसे इंक्रीज होगी, सिंपल है ना. अगर आरबीआई ने पब्लिक से गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज खरीदी, वो गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज जो पब्लिक ने पास्ट में खरीदी थी और उसके बदले में पब्लिक को क्या दिया, पैसा, तो ऑटोमेटिकली मनी सप्लाई इन द मार्केट क्या होगा, इंक्रीज होगा. सो दैट सिनेरियो विल रिजल्ट इन इंक्रीज इन मनी सप्लाई इन द मार्केट, विल रिजल्ट इन इंक्रीज इन लिक्विडिटी इन द मार्केट. दैट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट scenario, one of the most important tool of monetary policy which helps RBI to change the money supply in the market. Got it guys? 60,000 करोड़ याद रखिएगा, ओपन मार्केट ऑपरेशन याद रखिएगा, 3 ट्रेंचेस याद रखें, इट्स फाइन, ना रखें तो भी चलेगा. Moving on to the second step. The second step says RBI has announced that RBI will be providing loan to the banks on variable repo rate. I hope we all know that repo rate का मतलब क्या. Sir, repo rate basically means the rate of interest which is charged by RBI, rate of interest which is charged by RBI against short-term loan given to the banks, or different entities. Now RBI provide these loans to the banks or other entities against government securities. Why government securities? Because these repo rates, the word repo basically means what? So the word repo basically means repurchasing agreement. So repurchasing agreement means at the time of purchase, means at the time of loan, RBI will be purchasing the government securities from the bank. And the moment RBI receives the loan as well as the interest amount, or at the time of maturity, when bank pay backs the loan as well as interest amount to RBI, then RBI will issue those securities back to the bank, and that process is known as repurchasing. Repurchase करने का मतलब क्या, कि भैया मैंने अपना लोन विद इंस्टॉलमेंट वापस कर दिया, लोन विद इंटरेस्ट वापस कर दिया, तो जो सिक्योरिटी मैंने गिरवी रखी थी एट द टाइम ऑफ बोरोइंग, मैं उसी सिक्योरिटी को वापस खरीदने आया हूं. दैट इज व्हाट means, or that is what the meaning of repo, which means repurchasing agreement. अब एक टर्म आती है repurchasing agreement, एक है आपका repo rate. So against repo rate RBI generally provides short term loan to the bank, और ये जो short term loan है it is generally given for overnight. लेकिन अगर आप एक रात से ज्यादा RBI लोन प्रोवाइड करता है बैंक्स को, तो उस केस में we use a word term repo. बट यहां पर क्या है, so here we have a term 56-day variable rate repo. 56-day variable rate repo का मतलब क्या? Sir, RBI allows the bank to borrow the loan from RBI against variable rate. Variable rate basically means repo rate से ज्यादा होगा. RBI ने let's suppose announce किया कि RBI is in a position to provide a loan of 50,000 crore rupees. अब इस सिनेरियो में क्या होगा? Sir, RBI will ask banks कि वो bid करें. They should come up with a bid that at what rate of interest they are ready to borrow the loan. The bank which will be bidding the highest amount will be receiving the loan for the given time period, that is 56. Again, इससे भी क्या होगा? मार्केट में मनी सप्लाई इंक्रीज होगी. Don't worry, I'll discuss this process of variable repo or variable rate repo in much detail in next few minutes. Second point is USD INR buy sell swap auction of $5 billion will again increase the liquidity. इसका मतलब क्या है सर? यहां पर RBI क्या करेगा सर? RBI $5 billion of फॉरेन करेंसी यानी कि US डॉलर्स को पहले तो परचेज करेगा फ्रॉम द बैंक्स, और इसके बदले में, परचेज के बदले में क्या देगा सर? RBI will give INR. This will result in increase in INR liquidity or INR circulation in the market. And after 6 months, RBI will be purchasing back these INR against the same US dollars. Obviously, the value will change, keeping in mind the foreign exchange rate. But yes, purchase and sale of purchase and sale of foreign currency will be done by the bank, by the RBI with the rest of the banks in the country in order to increase the liquidity. तो 3 steps हुए. सबसे पहला step क्या है? Open market operation, 50,000 crore rupees. Second point, we have variable rate repo के basis पर RBI will be providing a loan of 50,000 crore rupees and RBI will be buying and selling the $5 billion of currency on the 31st January 2025 for 6 months. I'll just give you a quick overview about all of them. So if I start with the first one, the first point which I have for you all is, what does it say? The first point says variable repo rate auction. What is it? So this is the auction which is basically done in order to withdraw or in order to add on the excess liquidity in the market. So what I'm trying to say, so we have two terms. One, we have variable rate repo and we have variable rate repo reverse. So with the help of reverse repo rate, RBI can evacuate or RBI can decrease the liquidity in the market, and here RBI can introduce the liquidity in the market. Both the process are capable enough to do the same. Now, how the auction is done? So this auction will be conducted on core banking solution. I hope you understand. As we have the core banking solution for every bank, which basically allows every bank to perform digital transactions all over the country. For example, अगर आपके पास अकाउंट है SBI में और आपने SBI के किसी भी ब्रांच में 10,000 रुपए डिपॉजिट किए, the same 10,000 rupees will be visual or will be available in your account and you can withdraw it from any other bank, for that matter any other ATM in the country. ये कैसे possible है? Sir, it is possible because of CBS. What do you understand by the word CBS? CBS का मतलब ये है कि we have a bank server, and to the bank server we have even the branches connected, or maybe we have the connections to the zonal offices, and from zonal offices we have the connection to the branches. अब क्या हुआ कि आप एक ब्रांच में गए, आपने जाकर अपने अकाउंट में 10,000 रुपए डिपॉजिट किए. The moment you have deposited 10,000 rupees in your account, the same amount will be credited into your account and that information will be updated on the server. The moment this information is updated on the server, now this information is accessible throughout the country. The moment this information is accessible as well as available on the server, you can withdraw the same amount from some other branch. Even you can withdraw the same amount from an ATM. Even you can use that amount to make payment through UPI. You can even use that amount to make payment with the help of your debit card. So this is what is known as core banking solution. You know what? ये जो word है core, this is very important. The word core stands for centralized online real-time exchange. Centralized online real-time exchange. So this centralized online real-time exchange, it's basically a platform, or it is basically a scenario where real-time information is exchanged. So whenever we talk about CORE, so the word CORE stands for core, stands for centralized online real-time exchange. So RBI CBS is eKuber. For example, Bank CBS is Finacle or Banca CS. So these are the different networks which are offered by different IT companies, and on those networks these servers are basically connected and we call them as CBS. So for RBI the CBS is eKuber platform. So the minimum bid amount, please pay attention, the minimum bid amount for the auction would be rupee 1 crore and multiples thereafter. So you can bid for borrowing the loan, which will be minimum 1 crore, and overall you can bid for in multiples of 1 crore rupees as per your requirement. Successful bid will get accepted at their respective bid rate. Bids below the repo rate. If you are bidding below repo rate, your bid will be rejected. So what is the process? Please pay attention. As RBI announced that I'm going to issue 50,000 crore rupees, means I'm going to provide a loan to the banks of value 50,000 crore rupees at VRR, that is V rate repo. If a bank is interested, you can come up with a bid. So we all know that today repo rate is 6.5%. SBI came up with a 6.6%. Then we have PNB. PNB came up with a bid of 6.67% maybe. Then we have ICICI. It comes up with 7%. I'm just taking an example. Once the bids are received, then these biddings will be arranged in descending order. So in descending order, we have 7%, 6.67%, and then we have 6%. After this arrangement, what we will decide? So RBI will decide the cutoff rate. Cutoff rate would arrive at the rate corresponding to the notified amount of auction. So how this cutoff rate is going to be decided? So cutoff rate is going to be decided keeping in mind the bidding amount, keeping in mind the bidding return or interest, as well as bidding loan. That means what amount you are supposed to bid. You are bidding for, let's say, 10,000 crore. You are bidding for, let's say, 40,000 crore. So if 50,000 crore is reached, so our cutoff rate is going to be 6.67%. So those who have bid above 6.67%, they will be receiving the desired loan, and rest of the banks, they will be rejected. So this is how variable rate repo performs. I know you were in a doubt that how actually this variable rate repo works. This is how the variable rate repo works. Now, what is the benefit? For a bank, you must know that in case of a bank, every bank can borrow loan from RBI against repo rate, but that limit is pre-decided, as well as that limit depends on NDTL. 0.25% of NDTL, and if I include the term repo as well, then it will increase to 0.75 NDTL, but that is not important. Secondly, if a bank is in need of funds and if bank wants to borrow the loan, getting loan against variable repo rate is better. Otherwise, bank will be borrowing the loan at bank rate, which is going to be costlier for a bank. So in that case also, variable rate repo is a positive aspect for scheduled banks. It is a positive aspect for scheduled banks. Is it clear, everyone? So we are very much clear what is variable rate repo. Now, after variable rate repo, you must understand that all these conditions which I discussed, RBI will reserve the rights to inject a marginally higher amount than the notified amount due to the rounding effect and inject less than the notified amount without assigning any reason. So it's up to RBI. RBI ने कहा 50,000, अब कल को RBI 50 का 55 भी कर सकता है, 55 का 45 भी कर सकता है. It's all about RBI. RBI can take the action as per their requirement. Moving on to the second point, जो मैंने आपको बताया था, US dollar वाला. As I said, first RBI will purchase 5 billion US dollars from the Indian bank and give them Indian rupees, and after 6 months RBI will purchase back these INR and give them back their 5 billion US dollars. So this is just to increase liquidity of INR equivalent to $5 billion in India for 6 months. That is known as swap auction. Why this point is important? This point is important to represent that RBI has last conducted the same sale and purchase in April 2022. So in April 2022, it was issued and then it was matured in October. So it was done in the past as well, and now it has been introduced again, where RBI first purchase foreign currency to increase the liquidity in the market, then RBI will sell the same foreign currency to evacuate the liquidity once the scenario is stable. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear? So 3 important terms: operations, that is open market operation, how it performs; variable rate repo, how it performs; and then swap auction of US dollar is also Clear to you? If all these points are clear, just give me yes sir so that I can move on to the next point. If you haven't liked the session yet, quickly hit the like button guys so that we can move on to the next news, and the next news is again going to be really very important. The next news is all about a report which has been introduced by RBI, and don't worry guys, from this Sunday onwards, I will be recording one news every Sunday, and I will be publishing that news on our YouTube channel or maybe on our application so that you can cover the news extensively with the help of those videos. Clear? Chalo. Moving on to the second news. The second news talks about very important, that is payment system report. So this report is published by none other than RBI, and remember that this is a report which is published on biannual basis for calendar year. For calendar year, this report is presented, and this report is recently presented for December 2024, but it was printed or it was circulated in the economy in January 2025. So Reserve Bank of India has published the payment system report 2024 on January 2027. Now, what are the important points which you need to remember? Before I start the discussion, guys, one thing which is really very important to you, which you need to remember. Guys, whenever we talk about these kinds of reports, the data, the facts, the figures which are related to these reports, they are important, but not only facts and figures are important, the understanding of this report is also really very important. You must analyze the report really very well, that with the help of this report, the economic projection which is given, how your economy is performing, that part is also really very important. So I'll help you to understand both of them one by one. So firstly, what you need to know? So firstly, you need to know the data. Digital payment in India have grown exponentially in last 10 years, while in 2013, there were 220 crore digital transactions. So 222 crore digital transactions of value 772 lakhs have increased 94 times in volume, and 3.5 times in value. 94 times in volume and 3.5 times in value. The value of and the volume of transaction is, in 2013, the total digital transactions were 20,787 crore. And what was the value of these transactions? So the value of these transactions is 2758 lakh crore rupees. So as you can see, volume has been 94 times, and if you talk about the value, so value has been increased by 3.5 times. Value have been increased by 3.5 times. First thing which you need to remember. Second thing which you need to remember is, in last 5 years alone, digital payment in India have grown 6.5 times in volume and 1.6 times in value. So in last 5 years, the increase is 6.7 and 1.6. But if I write down the last 10 years, so last 10 years, volume has increased 94 times and value has increased 3.5 times. So this is in last 10 years and upper one is in last 5 years. This amount to a 5-year compound annual growth rate of, so what is the compound annual growth rate? So the compound annual 5-year compound annual growth rate is 45.9%. This is an important fact which can be asked in the phase 1 examination. So for 45.9% in terms of payment volume and 10.5% in terms of digital payment value. So value has grown by compound annual growth of 10.2% and volume has grown by 45.9%. These two areas are important. Moving on to the next point. Now I will be discussing all the important areas one by one, but before that I would like to mention few insights which are really very important. First one, if I talk about card payment, with respect to the card payment, especially credit card payment has increased. Especially credit card payments increased and it has doubled in terms of issuing. Second point, which is important, if I talk about global level, on the global level, sir, India is on the first rank in terms of inward remittance. On the second rank, we have Mexico, and on the third rank, we have China. I hope you all understand inward and outward remittance. As per the latest World Bank report, India has received highest 123 or 29 billion dollars. Please check it once. Is it either 123 or 129 billion dollars? So this is inward remittance. This data is also shared in the same report. That is the reason I'm sharing it over here. And on the other side, if I talk about the outward remittance, so the nation on the first rank in terms of outward remittance is US, and one yearly basis outward remittance which has been witnessed from US is $93 billion. Are you getting this point? Inward and outward remittance का मतलब क्या होता है सर? जब फंड्स को ट्रांसफर किया जाता है from one country to another. What I'm trying to say, so let's suppose मैं अपनी ही example लूँ. Right now I'm staying in New Delhi and I am working, but actually I belong to Punjab. Let's suppose, rather than staying in New Delhi, if I'm staying back in US and I'm earning in US, and out of my income after making my survival expenditure, I transfer those funds to my family for their survival as well as for the investment purpose. So that amount which I will be transferring from US to India will be termed as what? So that will be termed as remittance. For India, it's going to be inward remittance. For US, it's going to be outward remittance. Is it clear to this point? For US, it's going to be outward remittance. Now, the next question is, sir, India is on the first rank in terms of inward remittance. Which means the highest incoming remittance in the world is witnessed in India. It is witnessed in India, or I would say it is received in India. What is the value? So it is more than $120 billion. What is the value? So it is more than $120 billion. It is more than $120 billion on the second rank. In terms of inflow, we have Mexico. On the second rank in terms of Mexico, we have Mexico on the second rank, and in terms of third rank, is it China, guys? In terms of third rank, is it China? Or we have something else? Sir, it's not China anymore. So the third rank is now taken up by Philippines. So third rank is now taken up by which nation? So it is now taken up by Philippines. It is taken up by which country? So it is taken up by Philippines. Remember this. Okay. Now, moving on to the other side. So if you talk about the nations in terms of outward remittance, so in terms of outward remittance, we have US with $93 billion. Then we have UAE. On the second rank, and on the third rank we have Saudi Arabia. So these are the three nations in terms of outward foreign remittance. This is $93 billion. In case of UAE, it is around $40 billion. As you can see, the gap is $93 and $40 billion, which is pretty huge. Same gap is witnessed in the case of India and Mexico as well. Where here we have $129 billion and here we have around $68.2 billion, which is more than, so India's inward remittance is double or more than double the value of, Mexico. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? So if it is clear, just give me yes, sir, so that we can move ahead. If it is clear, just give me yes, sir, so that we can move ahead. These are the data which are really very important. Now we talk about those data from where if a question is going to be asked, it will not only current affair based question, it can be a static question as well. So let's identify the static areas. First of all, what is RTGS? So RTGS is real time gross settlement. It's a platform, or I would say it's a platform where online real time funds are transferred from one bank account to another bank account, and this service is provided by RBI. This service is provided by RBI. It was introduced in March 2004, and remember that it is large value payment system, because real RTGS is allowed only if your transaction value is 2 lakhs and above. So if the transaction value is 2 lakhs and above, then only you can use RTGS. Otherwise, RTGS service is not available. Since December 2020, RTGS service is available for 24/7, 365 days. That means during the calendar year, without any day as holiday. All the days will be utilized for transfer the funds under RTGS. So remember that during the calendar year 2024, that means from January to December 2024, we have recorded around 29.53 crore transactions of value 1938 lakh crore rupees. 1938 lakh crore rupees. Please pay attention. What is the value? So the value is 1938 lakh crore rupees. 38 lakh crore rupees. And if I talk about the transactions, so it is 29.3 crore. It is 29.3 crores. If you just assume it in this manner, that this is 30 and this is 1800, if you take it in this manner also, then on an average, per RTGS transaction is going to be around 6 crore rupees. Per RTGS transaction is going to be around 6 crores. What is the reason? So the reason is pretty huge transactions are performed through RTGS. That is really very important. Otherwise, in order to transfer employee salary, generally majority times the transaction which is used is NEFT, because it is free of cost, which is known as National Electronic Fund Transfer. Either it is free of cost as per the RBI and government provisions, but even it can be chargeable, but the charges charged in case of NEFT is less than charges which are charged in case of RTGS, which is quite obvious. Is it clear? Okay, moving on to the next point. The next point talks about the third one, that is cards. As we all know that the use of debit card has declined over the period of time. What is the reason? So the reason is quite obvious. The use of debit card has declined over the period of time because now we are using UPI to make the same transaction. But yes, on the other side, credit card transactions has grown, and it has grown 15% over year-on-year basis. Even now, if we compare to the past, it has almost doubled in comparison to the previous comparison or the previous market. Then during the year 2024, there was around 447 crore transactions with a value of 173 crore rupees. So if you see, the transaction cost is pretty less, or I would say the transaction value is pretty less. So there were 447 crore transactions through debit card and 173 crore transactions through your, one second, I'll just make this clear to you. So if I talk about credit card, in case of credit card, if I say the transaction value and volume, so the transaction volume is 447 crores, and if I talk about the value, so it is 20.37 lakh crore. On the other side, if I talk about debit card, so in case of debit card, it is 173 crore number of transactions and the value is 5.16 lakh crore rupees. So this is the data which you need to remember. Moving on to the next, I hope you all are very well aware of check truncation system. What do you understand by the word check truncation system, guys? See, these days, when you approach the bank to get your checks cleared, in that particular case, bank will not transfer, bank will not issue, or bank will not, I would say, send the physical form of check to the pays bank. Rather, the image of the same check is transferred over the mail, and that image, or I would say that electronic form, is known as truncated check. So what is truncated check? So truncated check is basically the image of a normal check which has been taken by the bank with the help of image scanner, along with that with the help of MICR. MICR is magnetic ink character reader, with the help of which bank first identifies that yes, this check is genuine. Once the check is genuine, its image will be taken and that image will be transferred electronically, for the purpose of payment, for the purpose of clearing the check. That system is known as check clearings. That system is basically known as truncation. That system is basically known as check truncation system. CTS was introduced back in 2008 by RBI, and further in 2010. Standards for check designs were introduced in order to reduce the risk related to the image-based clearing system. The term which I was mentioning, that is MICR, which is magnetic ink character reader, it will help you to identify that the check which is being in circulation, or the check whose image is being shared, is it an original check or not, because it will include check number on the base. Then we have the MIC code, which include codes related to bank, then branch, as well as city, and lastly we have the 2-digit code which basically identify the type of account. So this is how the checks are identified, or I would say their originality is authenticated. Sir, NEFT settlement is done at the end of the day while RTGS? No, that is not the case. Mukund, that is not the case. RTGS settlement is done in real-time basis, but our NEFT settlement is done with the help, or I would use a word that is known as batches. So half an hour batch is formed. In a day, we have half an hour batch. We have total for 24 hours a day. So that means 48 batches. That means 48 batches are going to be cleared. But the question over here is, sir, how we are going to define? The question over here is, how we are going to define the difference between, or I would say how you define the clearing process in case of RTGS and NEFT, what actual terms, or I would say what technical terms I can use in the same. So if I talk about the technical terms, we have two important technical terms which can be used for the same. The first technical term which I'll come up with, as you all are saying, that is settlement. So in case of NEFT, the transfer of funds from one institution to another institution is done through DNS. DNS stands for deferred net settlement. Deferred net settlement. Deferred net settlement means settlement will be done in future. There will be a delay. There will be some time requirement to process the settlement. Which means settlement is done in batches. So for one batch, settlement will be done. Once the settlement of one batch is completed, then the settlement of the another batch will be done. This is how NEFT operates. But on the other side, if I talk about RTGS, so we can use a word multilateral net settlement batch. Multilateral net settlement batch means different batches, they are settled down simultaneously, which will give us an experience of real-time transaction. So remember that MNS stands for multilateral net settlement batch, which files for other ancillary payment systems such as those operated by Clearing Corporation of India, National Payment Corporation of India. They all are included under the same. Is it clear now? So if someone asks you the methods or the formats, then you can give these two statements. These are the two terms which you can mention to give technical difference between RTGS and NEFT. I have given you the general difference, which I am pretty sure is clear to you. Going ahead. Okay, moving to the next point. In case of prepaid payment instruments, in 2009, RBI has issued the guidelines to ensure development of the PPI ecosystem. So during the year 2024, there were around 700 crore transactions worth 2.23 lakh crore related to PPI, that is prepaid payment instruments. Then we have check truncation system. We have witnessed around 63 crore transactions of value 71 lakh crore rupees. Moving to next. Then we have IMPS, which we generally use. IMPS is one of the most used platform in case of retail payment transactions. Sir, is there any difference between transfer and settlement? No. Transfer means the process where you are transferring the funds from one account to another. Settlement basically means the ultimate completion of transfer, which means the funds are debited from your account and now they are credited into the receiver's account. The moment those funds are credited into the receiver's account, we use a word settlement. But transfer is a general term which can use at the time of initiation. It can be used in the course of action and it can be used at the end as well. But settlement means final scenario where the funds are finally credited into the receiver's account. That is what I'm trying to say. Moving to the next. So IMPS was introduced back in 2010. It is an instant payment electronic fund, or I would say instant payment electronic fund transfer, which is again allowed for 24/7, 365 days. But there is a upper limit which has been fixed for RTGS, fixed for IMPS, unlike RTGS. So India was the fourth country after South Korea, UK and South Africa to introduce such payment ecosystem. And this time we have recorded around 600 crore transactions through IMPS of value around 70 lakh crore rupees. Aadhaar enabled payment system, it is basically a payment system where funds are transferred from one bank account to another account, but on the basis of Aadhaar, I would say Aadhaar related information. So when you transfer the funds from one bank account to another bank account with the help of Aadhaar related information of receiver as well as of sender, that is known as Aadhaar enabled payment system. Then we have NACH, it stands for National Automated Clearing House. As we know, these days we have CTS, that is check truncation system. These days there is no physical movement of check is done from one place to another, and that is the reason there is no requirement of physical clearing houses. So there is no requirement of physical clearing houses, especially for check clearing system. Now we have National Automated Clearing House. So it was launched in 2016. It is a centralized electronic clearing system which is operated by NPCI, and it allows the settlement of, it allows the clearing of, it allows the completion of check transaction, check settlements which are done under CTS, So in year 2024, as many as 321 crore transactions valued 514 lakh crores were processed through APBS. And if I talk about NACH credit recorded, so NACH credit recorded 165 crore transactions worth 16.33 lakh crore rupees. So remember this is more than sufficient. Moving to the next one. Unified, I hope you all are very well aware. So this is the most important part which is important for you. And it is something which has helped India to achieve the first rank. It is something which has helped India to achieve the first rank in terms of number of transactions or number of digital transactions worldwide. On the second rank, we have China in terms of volume of digital transactions in the world, but unfortunately, China's number of digital transactions are almost 1/3 of the yearly digital transactions which are performed in India, and the main reason is UPI. So this year in 2024, UPI recorded 17,220 crore transactions of value 246 lakh crore rupees. This data is important. Then we have Bharat Bill Payment System. It was also launched in 2016. UPI was also launched in 2016, and it allows you to enjoy bill payments related to your different utilities on the same platform. So rather than going to different platforms for making the bill payment, now you can utilize a single platform for paying your direct to home service bills, for paying your water, gas, electricity bills, even your telephone bills. You can even pay your insurance agent. You can even pay your insurance agent bills, or you can even pay your insurance policy bills through the same platform, that is Bharat Bill Payment System. In the end, we have a very important term from where I'm expecting a short question in your examination, that is known as Project Nexus. I don't know how many of you have heard about this. Project Nexus. Project Nexus is in news these days because this is basically an initiative taken to enhance cross-border payments. Bank of International Settlements, which possesses its headquarters in Basel, Switzerland. So Bank for International Settlement, Innovation Hub, Singapore. So Bank of International Settlement possesses headquarters in Basel. Bank of International Settlement Innovation Hub is in which country? So it is in Singapore, which has developed this Nexus, which is basically a multilateral network connecting domestic. It is basically multilateral network connecting domestic instant payment system. So what is it? So it is basically an initiative, that is Nexus, which allows multilateral network connecting domestic instant payment system network for participating countries, which means if we have 5 participating countries, those 5 participating countries, with the help of this Project Nexus, they can enjoy inter-country or cross-border transactions seamlessly with the help of access to the domestic instant payment system. So this network is basically promoted as a central hub which can connect fast payment system of multiple countries, which will allow them to make faster cross-border payment transactions. So the project aims to support G20 target of improving the cost, speed, as well as access and transparency of cross-border payments. The next point, which is really very important, India joined Project Nexus to enable instant cross-border retail payments by interlinking domestic fast payment systems. But what is important over here? So the important part is this will facilitate multilateral linkage fast payment system of 4. How many? Sir, 4 ASEAN nations, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which include undoubtedly Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. And now, 5th nation is India. Now the 5th nation is India. So this agreement was signed and it came into effect in June 2024. So UPI has been facilitated to be accepted in many foreign countries. So UPI has already been accepted in many foreign countries at merchant locations through scanning of the QR code. So this facilitates person to merchant transactions through QR code at merchant locations for Indian citizens traveling to the other countries as well. And this is something which is promoting the use of UPI. This is something which is increasing the use of UPI within the country, within the individuals of the nation. So Project Nexus will allow the acceptance of, or I would say this cross inter-country or cross-border retail payment. N number of settlements, transactions, tie-ups are allowing the acceptance of RuPay card, And now RuPay card is accepted in Bhopal, Nepal, Singapore, Maldives, Mauritius, and UAE for use at ATM as well as point of sale machine. Issuance of RuPay card is live in Bhutan and Mauritius. It's quite obvious because RuPay is basically what? So RuPay is basically a card payment system. The same way we have Visa, the way we have MasterCard, the way we have Mastro. In a similar manner, RuPay is also a card scheme agent. If they can issue cards in India, then RuPay can also issue the cards in different countries for sure. As per the MOU between RBI and Central Bank of UAE in July 2023, Central Bank of UAE has developed its domestic card scheme. The name is Jevan, based on RuPay technology. So now Jevan, which is being implemented as a domestic card scheme in UAE by the Central Bank of UAE, it is based on the technology of RuPay card itself. So soft launch of Jevan card has been done in February 2024, and parallelly there is a discussion between operations are going on and enabling the bilateral acceptance of RuPay and Jevan in each countries over the period of time. So these are some of the important initiatives related to inter-border transactions. So till this point, Nexus is important, and after that the other achievements related to the international transactions and ease of making the international transactions has been announced in this particular report itself. So I'm pretty sure all the terms which we have discussed are crystal clear. If you're watching this session for the very first time, then I would request you do join our Lakshya batch, and if you want to join this Lakshya batch, and that too at lowest cost, then you can use the code MADHAV in order to enjoy maximum discount on different I would say benefits which are offered by Testbook for different exams for different categories. So thank you so much for joining, guys. We'll catch you in the next session. Bye bye, take care. You can download the PDF of this session. You can download the PDF of this session from this particular Telegram channel. Just scan the code, join the channel, and I will be sharing the PDF in next 5 minutes. If you have any doubt, guys, you can ask please, else I'll conclude the discussion. Otherwise, you can even ask your doubts when you will be watching the session in recorded form, and you can mention your doubts in the comment section. I will be taking your doubts from the comment section as well. Done. I hope you must have liked the session, guys. If you haven't liked the session yet, then I request you do like the session before leaving, and I will be catching you all in the upcoming sessions to go. Thank you so much. Good luck. God bless you all.